Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our panel discussion at Chinaplas 2017, the second Industry 4.0 conference that is held here in Guangzhou in the year 2017, organized by AdSale and the VDMA. In today's panel discussion, we will talk about the automotive industry business, especially the standardization within the automotive industry's business. And first of all, I would like to introduce to you our round of discussion. To start with, welcome to Mr. Karl Litherland. He is head of group marketing of Motan Holding. Then also a warm welcome to Dr. Reinhard Schiffers, Head of Machine Technology of Krauss Maffei Technologies. And last but not least, welcome to Philipp Kremer, Business Development Manager Plastic of KUKA. Welcome to this panel discussion. So let's talk about the automotive industry. We heard quite a bit of it during this conference already. Without a doubt, it is one of the most demanding industries that we are having worldwide, and here in China as well, one of the important industries. Dr. Schiffers, how will Industry 4.0 change the automotive business, or at least the automotive production business in the upcoming years?
In the way I see it, there are many different, let's say, potential opportunities for the automotive production in order to use the data that is available in production, and I think there are some good ideas working for creating some value for them, and especially on, let's say, evaluation of data, not only from production, also from the customer side. So what is the use, the need for the customers, what the customers want? That is some special value that may be interesting in the future.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Kremer, KUKA is already in the automotive business for ages. We've seen your robots in automotive manufacturing facilities for over decades. Now you're entering a next step, a next level of productivity, and you explained that in your presentation. Will your company, will KUKA also change by means of Industry 4.0? Will you become not only a hardware manufacturer, but a software and hardware manufacturer?
I think the main issue for a robot manufacturer like us in the future is that it's not a future to sell the robot, it's more a new business concept that will be realized in the future. So, for example, in the future, the customers don't buy the robot, they buy meters per hour. Yeah, so that we have to create more business models that can be used in the future in automotive. So, for example, that KUKA provide not the dedicated robot, but KUKA use the robot to produce some parts in automotive and sell these parts to Daimler, for example.
Karl Litherland, I'm asking myself, will Industry 4.0 be the future prerequisite to be part of the automotive industry? Or better said, will those companies who will not provide Industry 4.0 solutions lose their business in automotive?
I think really you have to see Industry 4.0 as a point in time. And technology progresses, and you can't really stop technology progressing. We all live in a modern world with digitalization. I think if you ignore it at your peril. And really, what Industry 4.0 will bring to the processor is efficiency and the ability to gain a far better overview of his production facility then, because all of the components within the facility are going to be talking with each other. And that really will dramatically give him an advantage over the molder that hasn't invested in this type of technology.
I'm asking myself, when I hear all these things like cloud-based solutions, like software and hardware connection, a network between different manufacturers or providers of technology within the manufacturing plant of the OEM, of the car manufacturer. Will that not only lead to a better cost overview for the OEM? Will the OEM use these new technologies to make more pressure on suppliers? Or is it the other way around? Will it help the supplier, for example, to keep or to find efficiency solutions in a more, let's say, up-to-date business? Dr. Schiffers.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. So the topic for the plastics producing companies or plastic processing companies will be to use their data before they hand over to their customers. So they gotta keep their benefit from the data, and then they can hand it over. That's okay. But in case they do create the data just to hand it over, that's not working.
Mm-hmm. Many of the car manufacturers, for example, those here in China, not only have one production plant, but they have different production plants. So let's talk a little bit about the advantages that, for example, a plastics part manufacturer could have in using Industry 4.0 solutions. How will the business be connected between, for example, different manufacturing plants on different continents?
I think I showed this in my presentation with the KUKA Connect. Yeah, this is a cloud-based system, and you can connect any device around the world from every plant. Yeah, so it's not necessary to have a local cloud, a local edge. So you can use the cloud-based system for all over the world, and you have all over the world the same view to your assets in your plant.
Litherland, the automotive industry is known as an industry which has quite high volumes. So we're not talking about minimal lots, we're talking about million sellers. But they are changing. They have more models on the market, they have more variety in their product lines. Let's say Volkswagen or Audi, they're having multiple of the models they had only 10 years ago. So how can Industry 4.0 solutions contribute to their inventions, let's say, in the field of models?
I mean, at the end of the day, again, it's standardization is a very important component, but most people assume standardization means a lot of standard parts coming out. I think Industry 4.0 takes into account then customer-specific wishes, and you only have to look at a lot of the products which are coming to the market today to see how much more impact we as a customer have in the product that we want. And all of these wishes, you've got to be able to change the product very, very quickly. And that can only be done by reacting quickly, and you need Industry 4.0 to do that.
And we heard that today. One of the questions here from the audience was the questions regarding standards. Do we really insist on having one standard, or will there be multiple standards? Dr. Schiffers, I think the idea of a standard is to have only one, right?
Yes, it's true. So I hope that we will get to at least one standard in, let's say, plastics processing. I'm not sure if we will get to a globally standard for automotive production. I'm not sure about that.
But at least let's talk about the area of standardizing between Europe and China. How do you judge the cooperation between Europe and China? Is it well running?
Yeah, I think so. So we see this OPC UA is also now coming to China, to the production here in China, and also to the products here in China. When we take a look to the injection molding machines or to other assets, all assets are available over OPC UA. And this is the standard regarding the Industry 4.0.
Let's talk about cost, because the OEMs, the car manufacturers, are mainly doing that. When they're talking to their suppliers, they're talking costs. So one question might be, for example, from a purchase manager of Volkswagen, of Daimler, of BMW, how much will Industry 4.0 cost me? Will it be more expensive in the future, or will it help saving cost?
I mean, absolutely. You're not going to invest in a system that's going to cost you more at the end of the day. There's a reason why everybody wants to become more efficient. And I think you have to look at, if you like, the three megatrends that everybody talks about: digitalization, globalization, and managing your resources. And those three megatrends have an enormous impact in the way we do anything, especially in manufacturing. So being able to communicate better and being able to implement that is really kind of very important.
Let's talk a little bit about the working places, about the people who work in the manufacturing plant, in the automotive industry, in the supplying industry. For example, in Germany, there is a heavy discussion running of people being concerned about their future. They're asking themselves, will I be needed in the future, or will my job be done by KUKA robots or any other brand in robots? How about this in the global manufacturing business, Dr. Schiffers? Will Industry 4.0 take away jobs from the industry, or will it change them?
The way I see it, it will rather be a change. So the needs that are demanded by the worker will change a little bit. So he will have to change to the, let's say, call it digital business. So we heard a lot about digital assistants in the machines. So the machines are beginning to, let's say, support him and give him some assistance. But in the end, he will have to use that information, and then that is why he has to understand that information. And that's, we need a different, let's say, profile of worker then in that time. But still there will be jobs in the future, for sure.
That's interesting. How will the profile of the worker change? Will it be jobs will it be non-specialized jobs in the future? Will the machine help the worker more than it does today?
I think in the future we have a situation that we do not have a worker in the plant because the problem is that we do not have enough worker in the future available for such kind of works. So I think that it is necessary to train the current worker for a higher level work, so that we can automate the lower work and can train the worker for the next level and can use them there, because we do not have enough worker in the future.
That sounds interesting. At least that's good news for the automotive industry, not only here in China, but around the globe, that we are building more cars in the future because they are required. If you're wondering here about Chinaplas and visit the exhibitors, then plenty of them are showing new interfaces, new displays, new touch panels. They all look very shiny. They all look rather simple to maneuver. What's your impression, Litherland? Will the machines be smarter in the future? Will they be easier to handle? Or will it be too complex to handle them by, let's say, everybody in production?
I mean, yeah, if you like, the sophistication then of the control brings then simplicity of operation. At the end of the day, absolutely, we're looking to make the operator's life easier. We're also aiming to take away a lot of decisions which are made by people away as well, because some of these decisions that people make are prone to mistakes. And that's one of the big benefits of automation, is that you can eliminate these mistakes, which means that you have a higher quality product, which is then coming to market. And I think you only have to look today at the products that we buy, which are mass consumer products, whereas in the past you were looking at failures and you were often expecting then, you know, that you would buy a vacuum cleaner and it might need to go back under guarantee. Today, these types of products very, very rarely fail. And that's down to the technology that's behind it, especially on the control side.
Talking about quality, we have to do that in such a discussion panel about the automotive industry. They have very high level of quality, which the suppliers have to serve. Will Industry 4.0 solutions help the suppliers to keep or even increase their quality level?
Yeah, I think so, because we have the connection tomorrow to all these data coming from the automation assets. And with this information, we can use software to analyze this and to create in the future better products.
Dr. Schiffers, when looking back some month to the K show in Düsseldorf in Germany, we could already see plenty of solutions as far as Industry 4.0 is concerned. This year here in Guangzhou, we are seeing even more. So I have the impression that Industry 4.0 is not only a buzzword, but is the movement of an entire industry. Am I right?
I just want to state that we are just beginning to move. So I think we could get to know that today, that we're beginning to run. We're getting faster. The aim is clear. So it's digitalization, but the which path to take. So it will be some decision in the future.
So, to finalize our little panel discussion, my question would be, how will Industry 4.0 influence future car or automotive industry? What will be the next steps? Let's say when we are sitting here together or standing together in 5 years, what will the automotive industry be discussing about in terms of Industry 4.0?
God, that's a hard question. I mean,
of course,
yeah.
It's my job.
I mean, you have to. I mean, if you look at Industry 4.0, we were talking earlier. There's an exponential curve which is in the process of ramping up, if you like, and we're just at the beginning of this curve. So at the moment, the next few years, I think, are pretty easy to identify what's going to be happening. What's going to be happening in 10 years' time? I really have to say, I couldn't really answer that very well. You only have to look at the development of the telephone in the last few decades to see how that has changed. So to be talking about what we're going to be doing in 20 years' time with regards to Industry 4.0, I think is too far. In 5 years' time, absolutely, we're going to be looking at a completely integrated production for the plastics molder. And that means that the injection molding machine or the extruder is going to be talking with a lot of equipment and communicating, and that then goes right the way down the material flow to when the raw material comes into the factory. We deal in raw materials handling. That means the material supplier needs to know which materials are coming into the factory. The tooling will say when it's going to have to change jobs, which colors, which materials are being used. The robot will then need to know which tool's been coming in so it can take the part out. All of this communication will be taking place amongst the machinery itself without human intervention. And that's something in the next 5 years, absolutely, which will become the standard, if you like.
Sounds like good business in the future, right?
Yeah, I fully agree. So I would say it's all about efficiency. In 5 years, so we will still be talking about efficiency and how to get more efficient in production, in handling and anything in the company. And therefore, I would say in 5 years, I would say we are just before ramp up. So we need some time to preparation. We need some standards maybe, and then the business will go up and the efficiency potential will really be then collected.
Mr. Kremer, do you agree?
Yeah, I fully agree with that. Of course, and I see in the future more and more in automotive the smart production coming. Yeah, not one line produce one car after the other. You have all these little production parts with 4 or 5 robots inside and produce the car that is needed right now.
I will check if you are right. We will meet in 5 years here. So I think we have a little time to let the automotive industry develop in that direction, in the direction of Industry 4.0. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your professional input. Thank you for watching us here at the Chinaplas 2017. And we will be right back tomorrow with our next panel discussion. Thank you and farewell.